Hi everyone, and ho ho ho! It's Chenzo from Reality Art Pod, and I'm here to talk about episode 6, the season finale of Reindeer Games. Previously on the Reindeer Games, a series of festive challenges sent Queen Brittany home, taking the majority of the comedy home with her. Before I dive in, I put a link in the subject to my playlist where you can watch the rest of my Reindeer Games recaps. Also, if you like the video, consider subscribing. I'm a newer channel and I'm trying to hit 500 subscribers by January. As we all know, I love the Reindeer Games. I don't know if it's just me, but this show has been a real mood booster for me. Seasonal depression who? Also, I have to let you know, in honor of the occasion, the eggnog is back. So let's dive in. We start off with a poem as usual. X and Nicole, Taylor and Frankie, which one will take the 100K to the banky? They dance back into the house as they do, and they're wearing Reindeer Games tracksuits. I love the tracksuits. I actually want one. They are very chic. Nicole feels like the underdog and wants to prove to her son that you can do anything. Taylor points out that she's never been to Santa's Showdown, and that's on Social Game, baby. The doorbell rings, and in comes Santa's helper, Tiffany. She has important news from Santa and says, "Oh, honey, you have no idea." She snaps her scroll open, and she explains that the Reindeer Games will be a tournament with 2 semifinal games and a final. They start off with the Naughty and Nice competition to identify which of the paintings in the house has been altered, and the winner will win an advantage in the Reindeer Games. Xavier has been studying the painting since day 1, and Xavier realizes that one of the paintings had its name changed from Mona Vixen to Mona Blitzen. This seemed very cheap for me on the production side, like you didn't change the art, you just changed the plaque. Xavier's advantage is he gets to pick the matchups for the semifinals, and whoever he goes against will have a 30-second disadvantage. Nicole wants Xavier to pick Frankie and says if he did that, he'd be making the dumb choice, which is what she's hoping for. X wants he and Taylor to be the final 2, so he's taking that into account when he's making his matchups. He ends up picking Nicole to face off with, sending Taylor to face off with Father Christmas himself, Frankie. The first battle is Nicole and Xavier, and there are giant nutcrackers, and they're wearing red tracksuits now, and I want a pair of these too. The challenge is to fix the nutcracker by putting all of the gears in place on a wall and spinning them to crack a nut. I think Xavier has an advantage here, not just because he actually has an advantage here, but there is a physical aspect to this, and being taller definitely helps. Nicole's strategy is to go one by one and test it as she goes, and Xavier's just putting them on willy-nilly. This comp has been done on Big Brother before, and you could tell that Nicole watches the show and X probably does not. Surprisingly, Nicole ends up winning this, cracking her huge nut, which is full of candy, and eliminating Xavier, which is insane to me. She screams like a banshee. Tiffany has to tell her good Judy Xavier that his Reindeer Games odyssey is over, and Taylor gets emotional as he says his goodbyes. Eggnog cheers to you, Xavier, who I liked a lot more on the show than I did on his original season or on the challenge. It's not that I didn't like him before, it's just that he has such a great calming presence, which isn't always what I'm looking for in a reality TV contestant, but there's no choice to be in a silly mood when you're on the Reindeer Games, and he got to have some fun and be super funny, like when he yanked back his invisible ponytail. Even though this was a silly show, I think it really helped him to show what a respectable competitor he is, and I think that being here is weirdly really good for his overall public opinion. In semifinal 2, Taylor wants to get Frankie out and show that she's the Ice Queen. She says, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the biggest threat of all? It's me." Their challenge is to stop the mischievous elves from causing mayhem at the North Pole. They have to listen to a crime report and knock down the 5 elves who fit the description using a slingshot. I love Taylor, but my money's on Frankie here because allegedly he's the best competitor of all time. They listen to the clues, which were really easy, and they get a pretty clear description of the guilty elves. Frankie says they are guilty of fashion crimes. It's really just a race of who can get their 5 elves first without messing up. Frankie actually gets in the lead and is 1 away, and Taylor catches up to him. Frankie actually misses one, and I didn't think he would, and Taylor gets her last elf and hits the buzzer, winning the round and eliminating Frankie. This is like a dream to me. I really thought that Taylor was toast, so this is the end of the road for Frankie. I'll be honest, I was dreading the return of Frankie for a while now. I was really concerned when we got the time laser or whatever the hell that Frankie was going to be on Big Brother 25. 100 days of Frankie on the live feeds, too much for me. 6 days of Frankie on Reindeer Games, this was okay. And I feel like he thrived in this environment. He comes into this as probably one of the more disliked house guests of all time, but I do feel like he ends up walking out a pretty likable presence. He's a great competitor. He comes into this finale, everybody thinks he's going to win. After doing a good job redeeming himself and becoming more of a positive figure, would I have been devastated if he won Reindeer Games? Not really. Was I relieved and ecstatic that Taylor beat him and eliminated him? Absolutely. Let's take a sip of eggnog for Frankie Grande, am I right, ladies? So the final 2 of Reindeer Games will be Nicole and Taylor solidifying the trend of women winning Big Brother spin-offs, which I love. Next, in the backyard, all of the Santa's helpers, Jordan, Tiffany, and Derek X are there looking miserable to be there, and all of the previous competitors return for the Reindeer Games finale. They're wearing, I guess, their favorite outfits from the season, and they bring back the man in red himself, Santa Claus. Well, this is their first time meeting Santa. I feel like Santa needed to say ho ho ho, like 10 times more. Josh stands and fangirls over Santa. Brittany hates Santa. She resents him from creating the drama in the house. She says that he is not to be trusted. Santa reveals that Frankie and Xavier have been eliminated, and when I say these house guests are shook-eth, Cameron says holy snowballs, and we really missed out on Cameron on this show. He says he's shaking in his well-fitted festive vest. Nicole and Taylor come in so happy to be the final two, and Danielle is happy to see two ladies in the finals, but is pulling for Taylor. Their final mission is a whole racket. They have to get 3 items: the magical mistletoe, which is suspended in the air, and they have to climb and build a giant Christmas tree to get it. The ancient antlers are in a puzzle, and the sacred snowflake needs to be built by stacking the snowflakes up. Taylor is ready to go mistletoe to mistletoe with Nicole, and Nicole says Taylor is smooth and confident, and she competes with her hair down, and Nicole has a bun, which was so funny to me. They start stacking their pieces to get their mistletoe, and they're evenly matched because Taylor is tall and can reach it better, and Rat Cole can skitter up the pieces. Taylor gets the mistletoe first as Nicole flops around on her pieces. Taylor moves on to her antler maze, and Nicole jumps for her mistletoe and takes a hard comical fall onto her pieces. Nicole gets to the maze, and they're both struggling with it. The maze actually looks really hard, but I like this challenge. Taylor gets her ancient antlers first and is so happy, saying, "I can do puzzles." Taylor moves on to her snowflakes, and Nicole follows, so it's all coming down to these snowflakes, and they stack and they fall. My blood pressure is through the roof despite not really hating either of these competitors. Nicole moves on to her final bag of puzzle pieces before Taylor and completes her puzzle, hitting the buzzer, winning the 100K, and saving Christmas. So next week, when you're sat around the tree with your family by the fireplace, enjoying the warmth from the hearth, think about who did that for you. Taylor congratulates Nicole, wishing us a Merry Christmas, and blows us a big kiss. Santa wishes us a Merry Christmas too, and the house guests sing "We Wish You a Merry Christmas" as Santa Claus wraps us up by reading a poem from his book, rhyming Cole with Nicole, which I guess rhymes, but do better, Santa. Let's talk about this final two, starting with Taylor. Taylor is an icon. She's great television. One of my favorite things about Taylor is that she really knows how to put on a show and give us what we want. She comes into this not really well connected. A lot of these people have known each other for a really long time. I think she had a bit of an edge coming into this, being so beloved by America. I don't think any of them would have targeted her earlier on. She ends up making alliances with Xavier, Josh, and Danielle, as well as with Brittany and Nicole, really only not having an alliance with Frankie, who she was targeting the whole game. It kind of felt like all of these alliances had the potential to be Taylor's undoing, and if this was a real season of Big Brother, I think that the game was a bit too messy, but in a short season like this, it was great. She got to the end without ever being in a Santa showdown. I think Taylor's undoing here was picking Nicole over Brittany to go into the Reindeer games. She said confidently that she could beat Nicole, but I still think keeping Brittany was the right choice. I loved that when Taylor lost to Nicole, she was a gracious loser, showing us that she can not only win with class, but lose with class. And I really hope we don't have to wait a long time to see Taylor compete again on TV. Sip of eggnog, moving on. And we have our winner in Nicole, and I think we all slept on Nicole. She's had a rocky road over a couple of seasons. It took a couple of tries and a couple of guys. Even though she's had great success even winning the show, I feel like it always comes with like a rough undertone for her. So it's nice to see her come here, have fun, make friends, be committed to getting along well with the other women. I feel like a lot of people on this cast were doing this show more to prove something than to win the money. It's awesome that an underdog ended up winning, and seeing her so happy makes me happy. So that wraps up my coverage of Big Brother Reindeer Games. I just want to say thank you to everyone who commented and subscribed, because this was really fun for me and I wasn't expecting anyone to listen to these. Hopefully we get more Reindeer Games in the future, but until then, I hope you have a happy holiday. Bye!